Welcome back to What's the Skeet. Today we're diving into the world of extreme adventure with the team behind Expedition Limitless. Joining us are Phil Quirk and Martin Murt Malone, the driving force behind a movement that takes ordinary people out of their comfort zones and into a life-changing expedition, all while raising serious funds for charity. Expedition Limitless combines personal growth, team challenges, and fundraising in a unique way. Their upcoming 2026 expedition will see participants snowshoe over 120 kilometres above the Arctic Circle. Is that the right? Yeah?
Yep.
All aiming to raise over £200,000 for Rebecca House and the Children's Centre. One of the ways they plan to raise money is an exciting event that includes 1,000 T-Rexes running down Peel Promenade. But we'll get into that shortly. How are we, gentlemen?
Very good.
Very good. Thank you very much. Very good.
Feeling fresh?
Yep.
Indeed. Yes.
After your swim that you were just telling us about?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, everyday event now.
Really?
Yeah.
Daily?
I'm swimming 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, yeah.
Wow. Have you ever done much swimming, Phil?
No. I'm terrible at swimming.
Yeah, I'm not very good at swimming either. I sink. I'm more of a stone myself.
When you watch Murt as well, he did a couple of years ago when he did the six base swim for the first expedition, and I did the kayak, which is a lot easier, obviously. And you're kayaking along next to him and Sue and watching them swim, and they're just like gliding through the water. And and I'm like, it's just incredible, amazing to see.
Are you keeping up in the kayak just about?
Well, I'd be worried if I couldn't keep up with the guy, but yeah.
Going like anything. So, should we just get straight into it? Do you want to just describe a little bit about what Expedition Limitless is for the listeners, so we know what we're talking about, and where did the idea first come from, really?
Yeah, so it came from mine and my old boss from the RAF, a guy called Matt Lawson-Clifford. He was my squadron leader when we were in the RAF. But we were really good friends. I was kind of at the bottom of the chain of command at corporal level, and he was kind of at the other end at squadron leader. But we were just good friends, and we got on really well. And we've continued to do a load of work since then. Every year we train what's called the UK ISAR teams, which is United Kingdom International Search and Rescue. So they're specialist firemen. They get sent anywhere in the world where there's natural disasters. So they'll be getting deployed right now for the tsunamis. They'll be getting prepped to go. The teams that we work with went to Christchurch, went to Fukushima, went to Haiti. So big disaster areas.
Yeah.
And me and Matt provide their winter training in Sweden. And whilst we were doing that, we got talking about, wouldn't it be great to just take ordinary people and expose them to that wilderness adventure?
Don't forget the whiskey.
Every idea that I've got is basically formed in whiskey. The T-Rex event, whiskey's present pretty much. It lubricates the grey matter. But yeah, we came up with this idea of Expedition Limitless, and we tried to figure out a different way of doing charity fundraising where it needs to be a sustainable business so it can keep going year on year, but we wanted to raise as much money for charity as possible, and I think we've kind of done that now. We've obviously on edition 3, and it seems to be getting bigger.
Yeah, bigger and bigger by the expedition, so to speak.
Well, bigger and bigger by the fundraising. So we've doubled it every time we've hit the target. We've doubled it. So we said 50,000 year one. Which was ambitious. I think most people thought that was probably a little bit lofty, but we got 67 grand year one.
Nice.
So then we doubled it to 100 grand, and then 110 for second year, and then we've hit that, so we'll double it again to 200.
Yeah,
we'll just keep doubling it to
see where the limit goes.
Yeah.
Is it limitless truly?
Well, we'll test it anyway.
That's the question. So then, where did you come into it, Murt? How did you get involved in Expedition Limitless?
I applied for the first expedition.
Right, okay.
And sadly got rejected.
Awkward.
Slightly.
Mainly because of my past experience. I'm ex-military like Phil, and I've done all sorts of crazy stuff like this. So realistically, that we're looking for people who find it a challenge and it'd be sort of life-changing. Yeah. And I kind of didn't fit the bill. But I said to Phil and Skiff, because I know Skiff for years, let me try and help out a little bit and raise a bit of money. So I did, as Phil mentioned before, I did a 6-base swim. That was October 22, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, October 22. I swam across all the kind of 6 main bays of the island in one day, and just to raise a few quid towards the overall fundraising
Right,
target.
okay.
When he says few quid, Percy, how much was it again?
26,000.
Wow.
In fairness, half of that was the Z Zurich Foundation. I work for Zurich, and the Z Zurich Foundation doubled it. So that made a big difference. So can't take credit for it all.
Yeah.
And then Phil and Matt said, well, why don't you come to the training week with the team then, since you've made a contribution. Went to the training week, and then somebody dropped out, and then I was on the team, and it was that simple, really.
Yeah, but I think on top of that, though, you were that integral in the first year, and that bigger part of the success of the first year that me and Matt said we need to get Murt involved every year, and if he wants to do it, which he absolutely has done, then he's now part of the team with me and Matt. So we kind of transitioned from participant to team leader,
right,
and now is going on some really interesting sort of high spec wilderness medic courses to be that kind of medical cover for us. So it's an integral part that Murt plays now.
Right, okay.
Not just fundraising, the medical element and the first aid that he can do is incredible.
Yeah. So what sort of medical emergencies would be possible on these sort of expeditions? What do you have to look out for when you go on expeditions like this?
Anything really. I've done various first aid courses over the year, but what became apparent is they're great first aid courses, but they're not necessarily specialist wilderness outdoor.
Okay.
So hence the reason that I'm now going to do some more advanced outdoor first responder, so sort of like a paramedic, but for the wilderness.
Right.
But you could get any type of injury. So in the Arctic, cold injuries, frostbite, but we'd probably never get to the point where someone had frostbite, because we'd make sure we're keeping an eye on everybody. And
don't just send someone off by themselves.
But anything, an axe, somebody could just cut them. Same as on a farm, the same as working in a factory. Any type of injury could occur.
Frostbite could be quite hard as well, because especially in the feet, because you've got your boots on and people don't want to stop, and they don't want to be a nuisance. So they kind of think, oh, my feet are really cold, but they plow on, and then you get in at the end of the day, and then you take your boots off, and then it's gone past that frost nip, and you can have black toes. So
have you seen that before?
Yeah, it's a big risk. I mean, Matt's had frost nip on his nose. When we've been up there, and he's not even realised it, and you could see he takes his buff off, and his nose is white, and that's fine. The frost nip's really easy to manage. You can bring something back, but if it goes into frostbite, as obviously Murt will brief the team and give the team lots of lectures about it. You've got to get in there early and sort it out. And cold feet, you won't even realise it's coming on until you get into the warm and take your boots off, and it could be too late then.
Right. Yeah. Well, so what do you have to look out for frostbite then? Obviously the toes go black, but maybe what do you look out for, and how if someone is coming down with it, so to speak, would you go in and what advice would you get? Like, how would you fix it?
Well, if it's the initial phase, it's the skin turns a bit white, and that's why you do a buddy system as well. So you say, well, you guys keep an eye on each other, and particularly extremities and nose and ears, but particularly tip and the nose. You've got good gloves on and good boots on, so you need to be quite extreme to get in your feet. So we'd make sure people are well trained before they go, but have the right kit as well.
Yeah.
But your nose is exposed a lot, so by keeping an eye on each other, your nose is looking a little bit white. So you just get it covered, get it warmed up. And then the cells will recover. But if you let it go too far and it starts to go like it goes a deep red and then it goes black, that's the cells are dead. Then that piece of flesh is gone.
Game over.
To be quite crude about it. But on the last expedition we had nobody even with frost nip. We were really good
really?
and kept an eye on everybody.
That's positive, isn't it?
Just be careful, and when you brief people beforehand, don't just carry on suffering. As soon as you feel any discomfort, speak up. That's a really key rule that we tell everybody. Don't be a hero, speak up. Blisters is another example. I think Phil will agree. The one thing that will stop you in your tracks is blisters.
See it? What? Because you just can't walk?
You can't walk. So all the expeditions that go up into that part of the world, I would say you'd agree, Phil, most people who don't make it, they don't make it because of blisters, not because of frostbite.
Really? I did not know that. Yeah. So that's just like general having good quality socks and shoes on and being aware of what's going on. So how many kilometres would you walk in a day, for example, in an expedition, depending on the weather, I suppose, is it?
21 is the longest stint I think we do, which in snowshoes is quite a long way.
Yeah. That's like having a big What, it shows you like an extra 5 kilos in your feet or something like that?
No, not 5 kilos. They're fairly light. The kit's really good now, but it's just the nuisance of them, and you don't. And we deliberately walk at a very controlled pace as well, because what you don't want is people sweating. That can be problematic. So if you're just beasting along like you would if it was a hill day in the UK and just trying to get a good sweat on, that can be really problematic. Because as soon as you stop, that sweat goes cold really quickly. So we manage the pace. So at no time should people be kind of dripping with sweat. And if people are sweating, then we've got it hopelessly wrong. So it's very disciplined. It's very controlled. It's almost like it's like a mnemonic. Not a mnemonic, a metronome. You walk for 20 minutes, then you stop for 5 minutes, then you walk for 20 minutes, then you stop for 5 minutes.
Right.
And we just do that throughout the whole day until you finish.
Right. Wow. And I mean, with this being the third one, then, what was the feedback like off the people who have done it? Like, what have you guys learned from the other people's experience? Because I believe I've gotten written here, you've been pushing people beyond their limits. Mm-hmm. What sort of feedback have people been giving you? How have they reacted to the experience in the past, looking forwards?
I think one of the phrases that me and Murt have used a lot since the first one is, for everybody that goes, it's a once in a lifetime adventure. But for some people that go, it's a life-changing adventure as well. And I think there's been a number of guys on both expeditions that I think fit into that kind of life-changing bracket, where they've gone and had this almost affirmation of life in a different, seen it through a different lens, and it been a kind of pivotal point in their life for a number of reasons. Yeah. But I think for everybody that goes, it's this once in a lifetime adventure. Whether it was the Arctic year one, the Yukon last year in Canada, or then the Arctic again, and we've got plans for the next one, which obviously we're trying to keep a little bit quiet until we know where we're going. But the next one will most likely be a big mountain that we do,
nice,
just to kind of change things up. But it's I mean, I suppose Murt might be better to answer this as well, because being within the team, because when you're a team leader, you're a little bit dissociated from the team, because the team kind of forms together and becomes a strong bond. And we're a bit like the school teachers and stuff. The stuff that I've found out from year one that I'm still discovering that they did, when they went out for a night out and got drunk and stuff. So,
well, you talk about limits, so pushing people past their limits. It's you're never pushing somebody past their limits. You're pushing them past their perceived limits.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So you got like year one. We took everybody up to, well, I went for, as I said, just for the training week with no intention of going on the main expedition. But at the training week, one of the things that was really designed to really push people and to take them out of their comfort zone was a whole night out in, I think it dropped to about minus 2021.
Yeah.
Just in basic tents with, fir branches as a mattress, sleeping bags, and to try and get warm and stay warm in an environment like that is really difficult. And we had people crawling out of tents as the sun came up, and they looked like they'd been beaten up. And it was, you've probably seen it as well, but there was some really.
It was one of the best mornings I've ever had in my life. It was amazing. Yeah. Like I opened the tent door, and I'm sure like some souls came out of the tent. And I put my head in, and I seen Diane from 1880, or from obviously from Wetherspoons now. Diane was on the first expedition and second as well. But the look on their faces, Jill Baker, I just remember looking into them, and their eyes, it looked like their souls had left their body. But the learning from that for them was that they didn't do a lot of things that me and Matt told them to do. We told them about insulation is so important on the ground, so you spend a lot of time putting stuff down so you insulate against the snow. And we once again we had a bottle of whiskey around the fire, so everyone was having really good fun, having a little drink of whiskey, and then we just had a few drams each for everyone. But when they went to bed, I think they would all admit that they probably just took shortcuts in little areas, and in that environment, shortcuts will just bite you pretty hard back. And when we got up in the morning, me and Matt went into the tent. I've never seen faces like it. Shannon Groves looked broken. She did.
Looked like death warm up.
Yeah. I made a big pot of porridge, and people were in such a bad state they couldn't even eat the porridge. They were literally just they were in shock.
And was this the training camp or first night of the expedition?
Camp.
It's just training
camp.
Wow.
But we
train hard, fight easy.
I bet they got shocked.
But we walked down off the. It was in Matt's farm. Matt's farm is like a big, extensive farm, and we were kind of up on a hill where we camped, and we had to walk down all the way back to the farm, and then everybody had to walk down to the river, and we cut a hole in the ice about a few days later that Phil had jumped into to demonstrate an ice rescue.
Okay.
Now in the Arctic, the ice, if you're walking on a lake, you're never going to fall into the water, but you do it as part of the sort of the training. So minus 16 or 17 outside, the water is maybe 1-2 degrees, and Phil walks in, does a self-rescue, gets out. We leave the hole in the ice for a few days, so it was almost like
plays on the mind.
Plays on the minds. You've seen Phil doing it, and then a few days later, you guys have got to camp out for a night, come back down the next morning while you're all miserable, cold, hungry, and then you got to go down the river and get into freezing cold water. And
we streamed it live on Facebook as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
So can I ask a quick question there? Sorry. So I do quite like cold water. Like I love that whole thing around the cold water. But I did see something one time that apparently if you don't get out of the cold water right onto the ice, your skin sticks to the ice. Is that true or not?
It's snow, so you don't. If you went onto ice, that would probably happen.
Because it'd be like your tongue hit. I always picture is it like your tongue hitting a pole, like a cold pole, you know, and your tongue stick to it. Are you going to be sticking to it with your flesh?
What you actually do is you roll in the snow for that reason. So the snow, because it's powder snow up there, you roll in the snow backwards and forwards. The snow sticks to you, and because it's so cold, you dust it off and actually takes a lot of the moisture off. So that's the first thing we teach them once they've got out is to roll around in the snow, cover themselves in snow, and then dust themselves off. But you know the hole that we dug that Murt was talking about, which was dug at the start of the week, and it was very deliberate. It's psychological by me and Matt. Dig it then. Takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours to dig it. It's 60 centimeters thick, the ice. I get in. They've got to watch me get in, get out. I sort myself out, and then that's in their head then all week. They know that's coming further down.
That's evil, boys. That is absolutely evil.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But you know, if you between me getting out sort of 4 or 5 days and then them getting in, most of it starts to freeze over again. We have to kind of, it's all like slushy, and it very quickly it freezes because the air temperature's down at minus 20, so it doesn't take long for that to start consolidating again.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that does, if you think about the whole team had to do that, and the apprehension, you know, some of the people were scared to do that, really scared, but they, as a team, everybody encouraged everybody to do it, and everyone did do it. And when you talk about perceived limits, in some respects that is way past your perceived limits to jump into.
Definitely.
Into that, and everybody did it. And what was really interesting was the difference between everybody walking down the hill before doing it and everybody walking back up the hill to the farm.
So what changed there then? What was the difference?
Everybody was elated. There were like such a massive sense of achievement after doing it. So you could see him. I was observing that, and probably you did as well, that people were chatting, and it was, you know, they're all excited. I've just bloody done it, and I can't believe I've done it. So when Phil was talking about, you know, life changing, to do something like that, and to be able to, you know, successfully jump into a hole in a frozen river, right? I can't remember, the temperatures were really cold. Get out, sort yourself out. You know, what other problem are you going to come across in life that you think, do you know what, I've done that, this is easy.
Yeah.
You know, it's raising, what do you call it? Raising your
tide mark.
Raising the tide mark of resilience. So
I like that.
Yeah. It just gives you that like sense of achievement that you think, do you know what, I can do stuff. I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do people, just to touch on that a little bit more before we move on, but do people, like I've gotten to one free ice bath before, but it's like, do you have to be careful they don't get shocked when they jump in? That must be the initial shock of getting in there. Is that what scares people, or is it the actual going under the ice? When you jump in, do you get you must get a shock still?
Yeah, no, I do. And every time I do it, I'm scared. So, you know, don't let anyone tell you any different. I do it every year in front of the firemen. I have to demo it in front of them, and every time when you're stood at the edge of that and you've just got, some base layers on and a pair of socks, and you stood there and you're looking into this black hole in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're just about to step into it. It is
scary.
Intimidating and scary. And I've still not got to the point where I can go, do you know what? It's easy. I'll go and do it. What grabs people is that instant cold. When you get into, like, say, for instance, if you went and did some cold stuff with Ian.
Mm-hmm. He was the guy who put me in.
Yeah, and he's brilliant at what he does. Absolutely phenomenal. He preps everyone really well. He gets everyone in the right headspace. He does all of the kind of movements. So when they're getting in there, that's in a very controlled way. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing is basically saying, just jump in, and you're getting completely submerged straight away under the water, so your head's covered. And you have to control that shock, because your body just wants to almost freak out. You've got to slow everything down. It's the same as what Ian teaches. You've got to slow your breathing down, take a couple of deep breaths, calm everything down. And then once you do that, you go, actually, it's cold. It is cold, but I'm all right. And then you get out and then you sort yourself out. If you get in and freak out and start panicking and breathing and kind of doing that rapid, that's when you go, you're off down that sympathetic shock route.
Dodgy route for sure. And do you get in the water, obviously cold water quite often? You've just been swimming today. Do you ever find some days are more challenging than others getting into the cold water, or are you that mentally strong now around that area that it doesn't tend to phase you? Just so as I just think it's important for the listeners. You do it every day, pretty much. Don't, like 2 times a day sometimes, and that's really inspirational. Actually, the fact you've built such a strong mind. But I'm just interested. Do you ever feel weakness like around that?
Of course
area?
you do. Yeah, it's not. Some days you get in and you just feel like you could eat the water in front of you. It's a mindset thing. I remember when you were last up with ISAR, you had to go in twice, and you said the first time you didn't prep yourself well enough. Yeah. So, not physically, you didn't prep yourself mentally well enough to do it, and you had a rough one. And the second time you did it, you got in the right headspace and you breezed it. Yeah. So how you think about what you're about to do is important. And if you didn't sleep well, or if you're tired, or there's a whole lot of factors at play, but it's all about preparing yourself mentally. So every time I go for a swim, I'm getting in the water to have a good swim. I'm not getting in there half baked thinking I just got to go for a swim today. Yeah. Like tonight, I couldn't wait to get in because the sun was shining. I was sitting in the office all day and
ready.
Yeah, put my leggings on straight in.
So do you wear a wetsuit, or do you wear do you wear swimming shoes? Like, do you wear Speedos? Or
pretty sure Murt sleeps in a wetsuit at the minute.
Like, are you a Speedos kind of guy, or wetsuit? What's the gig?
I'm a wetsuit. If it's a longer swim, I'll wear a wetsuit to stay warm. Like tonight, I didn't wear a wetsuit.
It's only 2K.
It's only
2K, Murt.
2 or 3K.
Listen to that.
2 or 3K, no wetsuit. But after that, then I'd wear a wetsuit because you get that heat transfer, and you have to be careful because you can get cold very quickly. So you're fine, and then you get cold really quickly, and then you go downhill very fast from that. So you have to always be monitoring your body temperature and be conscious of how you're feeling as well. I've gone out to do 2K swim without a wetsuit, and after about half K, I've turned around and swam back and got out because I just didn't feel right. It was too cold.
Really?
Yeah. So you got to listen to your body and react to that, especially in cold water.
What's the average temperature of water around Elman? Herb, do you know that? What the average temperature is?
It drops to about 7 in the coldest in winter, so it's 16. Well, my watch told me it was 16 tonight when I was swimming, 16 degrees.
Cold enough,
which is actually unseasonably warm for this time of the year. It should be around 14, 15 now. It's a little bit warmer than it should be.
Yeah. So you're doing, and that leads quite nicely on into the raising money of this year. Yep. Talk me around that a little bit, guys. So obviously we've got the T-Rex run. Yep. You're doing a 24-hour swim.
24-hour swim.
Yep. I'd really like to dig. Let's spend a bit of time talking about that, Murt. 24-hour swim. Are you guys going to be supporting them through this, or what's the sort of layout of that?
I'm going. My wife, Ginger's going, or Ruth is.
Okay.
Everybody knows her as Ginger, so it's if I call it if I call her Ruth, she freaks out. She's like, "Who the hell is Ruth?" So me and my wife are going. some of the guys from last year's expedition are going, which is amazing. Martin Hall's going.
Martin Hall's going. Carl Stanford, yeah. Some of the guys from the first expedition are going.
And Graham as well.
Graham and his wife, Graham Saunders.
And Dawn Saunders.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a decent contingent going down. And
Where is it, sorry?
Kent.
St Andrews Lakes in Kent. It's there's a few good reasons for doing it there. One, it's really clean water. The water is one grade of drinking water. You can actually
seriously in the sea or pond.
It's a lake. It's
a lake.
An old chalk quarry, and the water is filtered through the chalk. I was down there training in June, and the lifeguards were telling me that when they run out of water out on the during the day, they'll just fill the bottle up from the lake and drink it out. And it is that clean.
True.
I was swimming. I did a 10k training swim, and as I was swimming, I could just take a little drink as I was swimming when you get thirsty.
Whoa!
It's super clean lake. So that's number one, really.
Right. So the water in a lake is warmer than the water in the sea. What did you say the average temperature was?
Between 7 and 15.
Right. Yeah. So you're right. So what would it be in a lake then? Is that warmer again?
21 degrees. So again, heat transfer significantly warmer than the sea. So when I was down there swimming. End of June, it was 21 degrees. It was blistering sunshine, and it was really comfortable, lovely.
Nice.
And it's also not affected by the weather, so the lake, even on a windy day, it doesn't pick up very much. So swimming conditions are good. I've got a safety crew, so the St Andrews Lakes and Andrew McNess are putting on a safety crew. They'll be with me 24 hours. There's a couple of really good swimmers, guys who swam the channel. They're going to join me just to keep me company for little bits of the swim during the night. Just as a bit. Phil's going to do some kayak support as well.
Nice. That's really good.
And it's just a perfect place to swim. And it's a 2.4 kilometre loop that I'll be doing, say, from about 6 p.m. onwards. But during the day, because the lake is busy, there's a lot of traffic on it. I'll be doing a closed off 1 kilometre loop. So I'll just be swimming around in a big
round in circles. And how much money are you aiming to raise with this then, Jen? So what's the aim with the swim?
There's two parts to it. There's me raising money for the swim itself, and I'm looking to raise 25,000, which will be matched by the Z Zurich Foundation. So they'll match it, pound for pound. Next week, I'm launching a guess the distance I'll swim in 24 hours competition. That'll go live across all social channels. There's £5 to guess. Yeah. Guess as many times you like. First prize is £2,400 mountain bike. Donated by Bike Style. Second prize is £1,000 swimming bundle, including the wetsuit and all the kit.
His face is just little there.
Third prize is return flights, Logan Air return flights to any two airports in the UK.
Mega.
And the fourth closest guess is a 4-night short. Sorry, that's the third, and the third closest guess is a 4-night stay at St Andrews Lakes, because it's a holiday destination as well. And then the fourth closest guess gets return flights to any airport in the UK from Logan Air, because Logan Air and are my sponsors, and Zogs are sponsoring the swim bundle because they're my kit sponsor, so they're sponsoring my wetsuits and all the kit that I'm using.
Wow.
And Logan Air sponsoring the travel. St Andrews Lakes are allowing me to use the lakes and all the kit there. Everything.
This is a big deal.
It's really good, yeah. So we're hoping that draw will bring in a lot of cash, because it's £5 per guest, and that gets doubled as well. So the combination of people just donating money, I think we're up to about 10 grand already. So people donating and guessing the distance combined is what I want to get to my 25,000, and that'll get doubled. Nice.
And do you feel like the people who are going on the trip sort of look up to Murt in a sense for leading the charge first, and then they're sort of like, right, well, he's making such a big effort into it. They're like, well, now we've got to commit.
Yeah, the first year he did the 6-bay swim. The second year he canoed for 24 hours around Murt Park.
In a pink canoe.
So there's definitely Murt sort of sets the bar, and I think if you ask any of the expedition members from any of the expeditions, they all look up to Murt. They all think Murt is
the dog.
Absolute. I mean, he's called the Bison for crying out loud.
Very nice of you to say.
It's called
Phil.
the Bison. I mean, imagine having a nickname like that, the Bison.
Nice.
Brilliant.
I love that. That is absolutely mega, Murt, and I'm definitely going to buy a ticket to support you there, I think.
You can buy 2 if you want.
I'll probably buy 3. That bike would be nice.
Are you buying one? Yeah, it's a 2.5 grand electric mountain bike. Scott.
You're definitely getting one, Herbie.
Yeah.
That'll be class.
Plus the wetsuit I'm wearing for the swims, I think it's about 750 quid plus mask, hats, swim buoys. I think that's worth about 900 quid. The second prize.
All good prizes.
Brilliant, yeah.
Mega prizes. Yeah. So then talk to me. Let's get into this T-Rex run here now. Murt's doing a tremendous job. What's the idea behind the T-Rex run? Obviously, you held it last year.
Yeah.
I wasn't on island at that point, but I'm dead interested in to see what's changed for this year.
Well, once again, I've got to tip my hat straight away to Murt. Murt was part of the organising team alongside some of the other Expedition members last year, and really drove that last year. There was probably a couple of pivotal points with the T-Rex run last year. I think Murt getting involved was great because he kind of put his full force behind it, which is quite formidable. And then Leanne Harker from Great Minds Market, and Leanne got on board and quite kindly donated all the time for free to do the marketing, and that was what really got the kind of captured the momentum. And what we realised was it was this amazing thing having 500 T-Rexes on Douglas Prom. But I know
it was a spectacle.
It's a spectacle, but it was a lot of work for pretty short things. It was kind of over and done with pretty quick. And we kind of came out the back of it and said, well, next year maybe we should do like a tea fest. So we've expanded it this year. So it's not just the run. We've got Roots down in Peel are going to do a brownie run where you do a kilometre run, but every 250 metres you got to eat half a brownie from a table, and just fun daft stuff, absolute mank stuff, isn't it? And then the T-Rex run, we got a load of stuff for kids on the beach. We're trying to obviously engage with all the businesses down Peel to bring as many people as we can down there. On Spit Corner, which is kind of that where the harbour and goes on to the prom in Peel. Yeah, we got a DJ there, DJ Trex, which will be a T-Rex DJing. 90s.
Which pub is doing the dinosaur burger for the day?
The Creek Inn are doing the Dino Burger.
Yeah.
So we're really glad to bring it to Peel, because I think lots of stuff happened in Douglas. Obviously, everyone from the Isle of Man knows that. It's good to kind of move stuff around the Isle of Man, and
definitely.
And then if we can get, we had 500 T-Rexes last year and probably between 2,000 and 3,000 spectators. If we can kind of hit those numbers and then double the T-Rexes, I think Peel will be an amazing place to be on Saturday the 30th of August.
Oh, it'll be absolutely buzzing down there.
I mean, just imagine all the pubs with T-Rexes in, the Marine, the Peb.
It'd be brilliant,
like full of T-Rexes.
So why T-Rexes? Where did that idea come from?
There was whiskey involved again.
Oh,
me and Martin Hall pissed in at the end of the 23 expedition. So Martin Hall's got a thing about T-Rexes. I think might even be a small fetish about it. But he brought a T-Rex suit. A T-Rex suit was pretty prominent throughout the whole of the 23. Yeah. And then he brought it to the Arctic, and then finished we walked off the expedition, walked off this 120 kilometer Arctic expedition, and Martin put the T-Rex suit on and snowshoed off with a T-Rex suit on, and obviously there's all these like Scandinavian people, Swedish and Norwegian and whatnot, and they're out for a ski or looking at this T-Rex. And we went out that night and obviously celebrated pretty hard, as you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
And there was me, Martin Hall, I think James Matheson Nelson, Carl Stanley. There's a handful of us left at the end. Everyone else has gone to bed. Murt's obviously, his body is a temple, so Murt doesn't stay out with us. We had a bottle. I brought a bottle of single malt, a really nice bottle. So we had that, and we were sat in this room.
Away with the fairies, by the sound of things.
Away with the fairies, really, really drunk, and we kind of made the decision that the only thing that would be funnier than someone in a T-Rex would be 500 people in T-Rex suits. And that was it. That the idea was born then. We got the T-Rexes shipped in on a container from China, and that's how it started last year.
Yeah,
that's bananas.
It was epic. That's the drone footage. If you go back on the Expedition Limitless Facebook page and look at the drone footage, it's just like incredible. And I've never seen so many people laughing. It was
It
one
just
of the
sounds
funniest
bizarre.
things. If you just look down the prom, and there was people just crying like with laughter, and it was a bit windy, so all the T-Rex heads were off to one side, which made it even funnier. It was brilliant.
We've got a vision that like we're going to do it every year, the T-Rex, even if Limitless isn't on, because it's about every 18 months, the expedition.
Yeah.
So even if there's not a Limitless, we're going to commit and do it every August, T-Rex, to try and build on it. And I've got this vision of like people coming over on the boat from Liverpool to take part in this world famous.
Yeah.
And is there anything? It's a bit like the Timbath race, isn't it? Is there anything more Manx than having the World T-Rex race championships on the Isle of Man?
I don't know.
We unofficially broke the world record last year for the
most T-Rexes,
largest number of T-Rexes. I think it's largest T-Rex gathering. We smashed the record. This year we'll break our own unofficial record. We need to look at the Guinness. It's really expensive to get a Guinness World Record.
Oh, is it?
It costs about 12 grand.
Whoa.
Which then
I did not know that.
That eats into the charity money. So that's why we haven't gone down the
okay.
Yeah, we haven't gone down that route. But
wow.
Unofficially we'll break the world record, and I think we found you can sort of do a cheaper version of Guinness World Record. We have to explore and see if we can, which is about 600 quid.
And what makes me laugh even more than anything is this all came from Martin Hall's fetish and obsession with T-Rexes.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that is absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
And is he like a dino fanatic or something?
Can we announce who the chicken's going to be this year?
If you want, let's hear it.
Well, we've got two
two
chickens. So we've got one chicken which is going to be some guy that has a podcast and a farm.
Yeah. Somehow I've ended up being roped into doing that.
And then my nephew is a lad called Tom Quirk. He's a cracking lad, Tom. He does loads of fundraising by doing running. And I said to him, look, get a T-shirt made with your. He runs a kind of a side business helping people do kind of couch to 5K. Great lad, Tom. Absolutely terrific lad. And I said, look, get a T-shirt made with your business on, and we'll stick you in a chicken, and there'll be a lot of people there, so it's a bit of advertising. So we've got two chickens that'll be chased by 1,000 T-Rexes.
Should the chickens set off first?
Yeah.
How far ahead?
That's how we did it last year. We had Dan who's 6 foot, I suppose 6 foot 4 or 5, dressed as a chicken. So he had about 100-meter start, and he's good. He's a good runner, Dan. And but there was some really competitive T-Rexes last year, and a proper
legging it
thoroughbreds. That were there to win the race.
Really?
I found out today that the person that won it, that we think, because obviously nobody was actually taking any notice of who won the thing, was Matty that does the podcast with Martin Hall.
No.
So that's
Matt Locker, Luca.
Yeah. So I was at Atlas today with Lyle, and apparently it was Matty that won it last year. So if he's in it again, he's in it again this year, and he's a pretty keen runner, Matty.
Yeah, big time.
I wouldn't hang about, Percy.
No, I'll be absolutely legging it.
Yeah.
I'll be absolutely. Do you want to turn that off for a second? Well, that's a bit awkward.
Imagine if that's Martin Hall. Don't talk about my T-Rex fetish.
You can hear me from here. Are we still live, Herb?
You did put your phone on silent.
My bad. Happy days. Let's carry on anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, chickens. Why a chicken?
It happened by accident last year, and people loved it. Thought it was hilarious. T-Rexes chasing a giant chicken. So we thought we'd just repeat it this year. It was funny. It really set the race off quite well. To have a chicken going down the prom first, which people just thought was hilarious, and then all the T-Rex chasing after it.
Right. And then Matt won a prize for coming first?
No, he didn't win. There was no prizes. It's just a fun run.
It's literally just... this is bragging rights.
Yeah. I've crossed the line first there from the best T-Rex. That's it. That's all you get.
The number one T-Rex runner in the world.
Yeah.
I've been in a suit today. As I say, I've been up with the Atla guys, just doing a little bit of promotional stuff. And my God, it's hot. And I can't imagine why anyone would want to set off like a lunatic in that, because it is so hot in those suits. We don't get a chance to do it because obviously we're kind of working on it. But if I was doing it, I would shuffle along. I'd probably stop at the Pev, have a quick beer, go down to the creek, have another beer, and it would take me about an hour to get round the thing. But I don't think I'd be running it because you'd get hot pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's why it's a short race. It's not a very long course because last year it was 2K and we had people coming back quite warm. Yeah, but funny because the T-Rex, people come back with their heads out the zip, and it was just brilliant. It was
just big red heads on them, like
very fun.
Oh, mega.
Yeah, and we had T-Rexes in Marxies and in pubs. We stopped the traffic. If you're up by the bottleneck car park, there's a crossing, and there was a massive tailback because there was all these dinosaurs walking across the road, and people weren't annoyed; they were just laughing. You know, if you were held up in a queue because there's people crossing the road, you get a bit annoyed, wouldn't you? But all the faces in the car was just looking; they're all just laughing because we're in a traffic jam because there's like a whole lot of T-Rexes crossing the road.
400 T-Rexes going down the road. So how else are you got planned on raising money then? You got some funky ideas here. Is it just yourself and the T-Rex run, or what else are you thinking?
No, we've got a black tie event. So we kind of launched that last year, same as the T-Rex. Like a traditional black tie event, tables, auction, raffle, guest speaker, and then that'll be November, and then next, just pinning down the dates, February and March will be the last event before we go on the expedition. We're going to do the first conference for human performance on the Isle of Man, which will be up at the Commons. 6 or 7 really amazing speakers, adventurers. You know, we've got a short list of speakers that we want to get over. That all have something really interesting to say about either resilience or leadership or human performance. We're going to get the day accredited by CPD, the Standards Office, so businesses can send their employees up there, spend a day up there listening to some inspirational speakers, but also get CPD points for it.
Yeah.
And that'll be the last kind of group event. So across Murt Swim, the T-Rex, then the black tie, and then that, we break the expedition team down into sort of micro teams, and each micro team works on one event each.
Oh, that makes sense. And then I was thinking how you're going around organising.
And each of the individuals have to raise, don't have to, but they have to try and raise £5,000 each. So if you think of it, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Well, all 14 team members have to raise £5,000 each. So that's a big chunk of the 200 already. And then these individual team events that we've just discussed make up the rest. Now, like other years, we hope to get past our target. If we can get past it, that's more money to the 2 charities. Even brilliant, even better, which is brilliant. It's what we want to do.
So it's worth mentioning as well that all of this is helped by businesses. So Expedition Limitless has had the success that it's had because of the support for businesses. So as Murt was saying with his swim, you've got the Z Zurich Foundation, you've got Logan Air, you've got the St Andrews Lakes, you've got a whole host of businesses that believe in what we're doing. You know, with the T-Rex event, Aston Williams are the headline sponsor, but there's businesses that are involved down in Peel. Atler are the sponsor for the black tie event. So we can only do what we're doing because we're getting a significant amount of support from local businesses. But what's really amazing to see is you've got all of these people coming together that are raising money, all these businesses that come together, and that's how we're kind of getting those, you know, amazing numbers like 100 grand and 200 grand.
That's crazy.
Because it's for the charities, it's you know, they're under a lot of pressure. You know, times are hard. There's you know there's not a lot of money going around, and there's a lot of charities that kind of need support. So it's difficult out there. So if we can and you know help some of the charities and for 1 year put a lot of spotlight on them, you know, 'cause that's part of it. It's not just about the financial element. It's just amazing, isn't it? It's such an incredible thing to be part of.
Yeah. And I think I worked out, before we started this expedition, we had 34 companies that supported us in one way or another.
And all Manx?
All Manx, yeah. Right down from small little businesses up to large companies. Like I work for Zurich. Zurich have been there from the start as sponsored. They've even sponsored the headline sponsor for the big swim alongside Zogs, Logan Air. Steam Packet have helped out with the travel for the big swim. They've been brilliant. And Bike Style, I'm running out of... I have to try and,
you don't want to leave anyone out, do you?
When I'm doing posts, I have to make sure I've got, bloody hell, look at all the sponsors that have supported just the big swim alone, not to mention just the whole of Expedition.
How good is something like that for the Isle of Man? That is absolutely incredible. What do you think of an event like that? What's your aim? What are you wanting this to mean to the Isle of Man in the end? Like, once you've got 2 or 3 or 4, you know, it's becomes solidified every 18 months as an expedition. What are you aiming for the Isle of Man to think about this? What benefits are coming for the Isle of Man from this?
I think, I mean, I'll jump in if you want and talk a little bit about this. I think there's a dual like philosophy and focus with the Expedition Limitless. One is obviously the fundraising element for the charities, but the other one is we want to challenge the modern beliefs around resilience. We all believe that are involved with Expedition Limitless that resilience is within everyone. It's not that some people are resilient, some people aren't. And we kind of got this narrative at the minute that young people are not resilient. You know, the snowflake generation, all those things, and it's not that at all. What it is we live such comfortable lives because we've had the success of previous generations that have worked really hard and have created a reality which is so comfortable for our kids.
Soft men.
The byproduct of that comfort is that we don't have adversity, and without adversity, you don't find resilience. So, part of this expedition is we're making a documentary, and although we haven't talked about the name of it yet, I personally love the name Innate for the documentary. Dario and David are filming it from Alt Lodge, so Dario Leonetti and David Lovelady, and the purpose of that documentary is twofold. One is to showcase the Isle of Man. One we haven't mentioned, Visit Isle of Man are heavily involved, and we want to show the Manxness of Manx people, if there is such a thing.
There certainly is.
To pinch my own surname, the quirkiness of what it is to be Manx. So there's a part of that documentary which is all of this stuff: the T-Rex, the training, the black tie event, Murt swim. And then the other part is obviously the actual expedition. And what we hope we do with that documentary is change this narrative and encourage young people to think that it's not that they're not resilient or strong or whatever way you want to describe it. It's just that they have to get outside. They have to get out in nature. They have to get out in adventure. They have to go out and scare the shit out of themselves every now and then. And what they'll find is the more they do that, they'll go, actually, you know what? I'm way stronger than I thought, way more capable.
What a great message. That's a tremendous message, and it's almost trying to inspire young people of the Isle of Man is almost what you guys are trying to do, really, isn't it? I think, which is
absolutely,
a great message.
Yeah, and if we wind all the way back to the first year when we raised money for I Listen, and spending time listening to them talk about what they do and how important and integral the work that they do is to the Isle of Man and how they support, in schools. Young people are bombarded with all sorts of different messages through all the different social media channels. They don't know what's right, they don't know what's wrong.
Oh, that's so true.
They're constantly in the spotlight. So they've got all these stresses that I didn't have when I was a kid. I climbed trees, fell out, broke my arm, broke my ankle, did all the stuff that kids do. But nowadays, kids are, they have all these additional pressures that we didn't have. So the psychological impact of that is we're seeing lots of mental health issues in young people.
I agree.
And as Phil said, if they were to put all that to one side for a bit and get out on adventures and just be out in the wilderness, like Phil's taken your eldest daughter on a canoe trip down. That was the Harken River in Sweden.
Well, next week I go with my youngest.
You're going with your youngest. What an incredible thing to do!
That's such a good life lesson for her as well.
No
isn't
phone. You're switched off from the outside world, which is what we were on the expeditions as well in Canada last year. Yeah. You've got no phone signal, so therefore your phone just becomes a clock and a camera. So Phil being, with the skills that he has, he can take his two daughters on a wonderful lifelong experience that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, But there's loads of opportunities for people to do stuff like that. They just need, parents need to look for ideas and look for ways of taking kids out of that pressure cooker that they're in. I call it a social media pressure cooker because that's exactly what it is.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah.
100%.
And get out and breathe some fresh air and go in the wilderness, jump in some cold water, do all the things that kids did without even thinking about when we were growing up.
Yeah, I really liked how you highlighted there that previous generations have suffered so much adversity that it's made a soft environment for people my era. There's that old saying of hard times create hard men, hard men create soft times create soft men, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's an old saying,
And I think that's a saying that I've heard a couple of times. It's been used recently across multiple places, and I think that it takes something like what you guys are doing to make young people realise that there is more, because like you said, that they're so locked into that social media bubble that a lot of kids these days, boys, haven't even been out and just camped.
Yeah,
and something simple as just camping in the field.
In a
so
tent,
many children who've never had that experience. Who you think you're just like, what?
And there is so much opportunity. They've got adventurous experiences. I think is it Kieran? Is it that taking people out in kayaks and coasting, and we've got the Mackle Adventure Centre. And then we've got the whole island, which is an adventure playground. And
yes,
and it's just about encouraging young people to think actually adventure is really good for me, and I want to go out and I want to, be a bit frightened from time to time. And that's one of the things that we were doing last year, which unfortunately it was only one primary school, but I went and spoke at a primary school with a load of year 6 kids before they went to year 7. It was absolutely hilarious. They battered me with questions. And what I was trying to communicate with the presentation was, I had the video of us going in the ice and the thermal imagery camera, and I was talking about the genuine terror and fear that I felt just before going in there, and then the elation, and obviously I was trying to link it to the fear of then going to high school. We're conditioned, as humans, we don't like things we don't know. We like familiarity. We like our comfort. So when we're asked to go and do something we don't know, it terrifies us. But if we do that stuff, I can go back to what you were talking about before with your swim and Murt getting up every day and his discipline. I think it's Andrew Huberman, the guy that has the Huberman Lab, and he talks about it as a little bit of your brain. Think of it like a neuroplasticity, like muscle. If you do stuff you really don't want to do, and you do it repeatedly, this bit of the brain gets stronger, and you kind of can see this now. They study it, and
your mid-fovea cortex or something like that, isn't it? I
think Martin Hull talks about it a lot, doesn't he?
He does,
and I think it was him that clipped me onto it. And it's this idea that if you do stuff you don't want to do, the reward for that is you get stronger, in mind and body. And hopefully with the expedition, we can kind of just create a little bit of a counter movement against this idea that we're soft, our society's soft. We're not. Our children are no more different than the ones that were born 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It's what happens after they're born that's different.
Yeah. Every child's born a baby, aren't they? Everyone's born a baby.
It's the old nature nurture thing. Yeah, some people are born tough, aren't they? But everyone's got that resilience in them. It's to some degree. Just it's like we just said, just got to find it and have a way of finding it, which is where adversity comes in.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to start rounding this up, gents. I think that's a great message to put out there, because it takes a couple of fellas like yourselves to really start leading that narrative on an island. It's not huge, so it can be influenced in a positive way if done correctly. And I think the things that you guys are doing are pretty incredible, actually. The amount of money you guys are aiming to raise this year for a start off is bananas.
It's a big number, isn't it?
And the trip this year itself off to the blooming Arctic is also bananas, which is pretty crazy. So we always finish the podcast with the same sort of question, just so people can relate to each episode, really. And that question is, if you guys could change one thing about the Isle of Man, or improve one thing about the Isle of Man, maybe linking to what you guys are aiming to do, what would it be, and why, to try and create a positive flow of how we can improve where we live? Take a second to think about it if you need to. There's no rush.
If I could change one thing, I would get our schooling system to model itself on what Scandinavia do, and actually, our schooling system was set up to meet the needs of industrialism, hundreds of years ago. And if you look at the most successful schooling systems in the world, the Scandinavian countries, so Finland and Sweden, Norway, they take the pressure off their kids when they're young. They get them outside. They learn by doing stuff on the outside. I spend a lot of time in Sweden, so I see it firsthand. You don't need to get permission slips done by parents to take the kids out. The teachers have the autonomy to make decisions and go, we're going to go canoeing today, and we're going to learn while we're canoeing. And if we could change that and think about the way that they school, and it's so successful that it's been proven to work. We don't need to test it. We know it's successful, but it takes a huge political movement and politicians and money and all that.
But it needs to be highlighted, man.
I think so.
And things like this need to be highlighted, which is that kids learn by playing, really, don't they?
100%.
Yeah. Health and safety, I get it, but it's gone to the extreme now where, children take risks, and that's how they learn.
Yeah.
They take a bigger risk next time, and it goes all wrong, and then they learn. And that's how we learn growing up. We're meant to take risks. We're meant to, stretch past our boundaries to figure out where our boundaries are.
Yes.
And if we wrap kids in cotton wool and bubble wrap and never let them have that kind of, let the risk-free kind of, life to go and try and experiment with stuff. I say that quite, But anyway, if we wrap kids in cotton wool, they'll never find those boundaries, those limits, and they become quite self-absorbed in their own little world, and that's where, when we talk about resilience as well, that's where a lot of the kids will find their resilience, is when they push past their little boundaries.
Definitely. That's a great point, boys, and it links nicely to what you guys are doing as well. Have you got anything you would like to improve, Mert? Or do you quite like?
It's there's a lot of things I could say, but they wouldn't be they'd be politically incorrect. Well, and I mean that in the sense of politics, but that's the same in every country, isn't it?
Yeah.
We could change a lot.
I'm glad I didn't say one of the things I was thinking about saying.
I've had some rare answers to this question, boys, so I'm ready for anything.
In fairness, you can't. Everybody gets out of bed in the morning most of the time to do a good job, and you can't slate people too much, including politicians. They're all reasonably good people. But I have a pet hate. I have a small business outside of my day job at Zurich, where I help people with nutrition, certainly nutrition and coaching, because I have a diploma in nutrition.
Nice.
So for me, I've seen a massive deterioration in health over the last 15, 20 years. All linked to incredibly poor nutrition. Where I looked at some statistics for the UK and indeed the Isle of Man, and we're seeing now that by year 6, 25% of children are obese. So going back to
how many percent was that?
25%. So
holy,
it's huge, and we're seeing metabolic disorders like diabetes and high blood pressure in kids now, teenagers, right? So it's scary, and this is what's what's the future going to look like for a lot of these children who are in such a state now. And we're seeing adults, people getting sicker earlier. Medication used to keep people alive for longer, but now it's not anymore, because people are getting so sick younger. And then indeed, if you do get sick, you end up living for 15, 20 years, and you're just surviving on medications. So
yeah, exactly.
I personally, I'd love to see more education done in schools. I'd love to see more education for parents on
is a big
nutrition, because the kids, at a very young age, the kids are not the ones who'll be cooking the food, and the parents, it's not their fault, because they don't know what to cook, and they're using processed foods and highly processed foods, which are incredibly damaging to your health. And then if we link it back into the whole adventure outdoors, when kids are on phones and iPads, they don't move, they don't fidget. So you give a child an iPad and it'll sit on a couch and it won't move.
Yes.
For 2-3 hours.
I completely agree.
Kids naturally move, they jump, they run, they play, they climb, they fidget. But you give them something like a phone or an iPad and they stop, and they stop burning energy, therefore they start to put weight on, then they put more weight on. Then they try and play a sport and they're not fit, and it's an uncomfortable experience for them, so they don't want to do it again. So if you're really unfit and a little bit overweight, and you try and do something in school like PE and it becomes a horrible experience, and you have a big red face and you feel really bad, because you would do if you weren't fit. I don't want to do that again. So they get this really bad relationship with exercise, which is also linked to the food that they're eating, and then suddenly this whole lifestyle develops where they become inactive and eat too much food, and they become overweight teenagers, overweight adults, and we have big health issues.
Strain.
This is why we now have issues in health services, because people are getting sicker younger, therefore it's a huge strain on the health services in the Isle of Man. And we talk about this 2% levy that's having to bring in, or potentially having to bring in, to cover some of the costs of the medical care in the Isle of Man. I can see why we're seeing this strain now.
That's a great point.
World Health Organization, they reckon that 60% of all illness globally is lifestyle related. 60%. So if you took all that away, so that means 60% of all illness globally is preventable.
Wow.
So on the Isle of Man, we're small. We could actually make a difference here. We could educate families, we could educate people better in schools, we could educate the teachers. There's so much we could do. And look what that would do for our society in the Isle of Man.
Oh boy, I think you've got a real depth of knowledge there, man. I think we might need to have another conversation on you about that sometimes, and your passion around that. Just out of interest, before we head off, what diet requirements do you eat? Do you eat a certain type of diet, like vegetarian, vegan, all meat, or do you believe in a balanced diet?
Balanced diet, yeah. I think extremes of anything are never really very good. So you can be healthy on a vegan diet, you can be healthy on a carnivore diet, and you can be healthy on but it's more difficult at the extremes. You have to work a lot harder to be a healthy vegan, you have to work a lot harder to be a healthy carnivore. And the middle ground is always going to be the best, because we've evolved eating meat. Simple things like vitamin B12 you can only get from meat, so therefore we've evolved for 240,000 years eating meat. Therefore, it's part of our DNA. So I eat a very balanced whole food diet. I don't eat processed foods at all. I eat no processed foods. My diet is all whole foods. Whole foods are simple.
Yeah.
Walk down the fruit and veg aisle. Loads of colours, but there's no labels. So you instinctively know that a pepper or an apple or a piece of broccoli is good for you. You don't need to stick a label on it and say, this is good for you.
Yeah.
Go down the cereal aisle and you get all these same colours, but boxes with... You get what it means. Just stay away from the processed food, buy healthy whole foods, cook it fresh every day, and you'll be fine. You can't go too wrong then. It's not difficult. Eating healthy is not a difficult thing to do. People make it difficult, make it complicated to make money out of it, but it's not. It's a simple thing. It's a really simple thing. Buy whole foods, cook them fresh, and eat a good balanced diet. And there's your answer.
What a tremendous way to end, gents. Thank you so much for coming on here, guys, and I'm so excited to run down Peel Promenade and that chicken.
You got your chicken outfit.
Chicken outfit's there, ready to go. Brilliant. She's sat there, ready to go.
I came bearing gifts.
So thank you very much, gents. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm excited what the future holds.
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
boys.
Thanks for having us on.
Mega. That was tremendous.